Hey guys, Dennis here with Revog Games. I'm joined by
Joshua Weyers, all the way in South Africa.
yes, and we're back with another brand new episode where we talk about video game news every week. The Revog Games podcast, and there's a lot of stuff to cover, a lot of big stuff. We mentioned in a few episodes ago, like, yeah, this is kind of the time of the year, especially with, well, not E3 anymore, but like the remnants of E3, kind of like the companies are still going to have their own showcases around
Yeah.
E3 time. And the whole Summer's Games Fest is going to happen. Also, we had these big AAA titles come out. And some things not so great for Microsoft and Xbox that we're going to talk about later. But I guess the newest thing to talk about is that Mortal Kombat 1 official
Oh
announcement
yeah.
trailer, which
Oh yeah, man.
they had given a teaser trailer before with a clock that like had jumped from 11 p.m. and it jumped all the way because the last Mortal Kombat was 11, right?
Yeah.
And so instead of going to 12, it jumped back. The clock went to 1. So basically, everyone's like, "Oh, it's a reboot. They're rebooting the whole franchise." And from this trailer, you can kind of see that. What do you think?
Dude, first of all, graphics are top tier.
Hmm.
I don't think we saw any actual gameplay, so it was all just cutscenes,
Yeah.
all CGI cutscenes. They still look dope though, very realistic.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and I kind of like I like the approach to, like, they're going a lot more classic with the outfits and stuff, if that makes sense. Like they're not too over the top like Sub-Zero and Scorpion. They look like a lot more like traditional ninja. They had like the samurai like cut almost on their hair kind of stuff.
Hmm.
So I like the more like classic look that they're going with these guys, and like a lot more almost normal looking, if that makes sense. But for the fatalities at the end were brutal,
They
man.
are
Oh
brutal.
my gosh.
Like I got a little squeamish watching something, and I knew it was a video game, but it was just like some was a little too much for me, to be honest.
I saw it on YouTube. It popped
Uh-huh.
up on my YouTube feed, like maybe an hour after the IGN posted the video. And the first thing I thought was, is like, I wonder if IGN could get like a strike for this, because like this might be like a bit much for YouTube's terms of service. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's the first thing I thought. But man, especially the very last fatality, that was
Yeah.
extra. Which I like. My favorite thing about the Mortal Kombat games is the fatalities. I'm sure it's everybody's favorite part, and the brutalities. Um, like going like when they do, like when they go really extra with the fatalities. I love that, like ridiculous level of stuff. I'm looking forward to that. So this is looking good. Obviously, I want to see some gameplay
Yeah.
because we saw gameplay for Tekken, and that looked top tier. So that's kind of like the bar set right now. The new Street Fighter game, I'm also still looking forward to.
Hmm.
I'm looking forward to the whole open world aspect, make your own character thing. The graphics do look sick, but I think Tekken, it does look a lot better in Tekken. The Tekken gameplay looked sick. I have high hopes for this Mortal Kombat 1. It's going to be good to like get a new younger kind of generation into it. And also the story was getting so convoluted and weird. So I'm really glad that they can reset the story, because it was getting really like it was getting out there, man, you know?
Well, now in this one, it's supposed to be a reborn universe. Liu Kang is
Mm.
basically starts a new. It's weird because it starts off all about like peace and harmony, and like you can choose to live your life in peace. And then of course we know it's a fighting game, so that's not gonna last. And then suddenly,
Oh yeah.
all hell breaks loose when Shang Tsung comes. You can notice too, not just the costumes that they have that are like back to traditional. You can see like the faces are like, oh, much younger, right? They're like
Oh yeah.
not like the war, through the story, like worn down, beat down, whatever, grizzled veterans or whatever. They're like all super young looking. Even Shang Tsung looks pretty young in it as well.
Yeah. I'm expecting a lot of story as well, because, well, I mean, usually there's not much story in the Mortal Kombat games, or like traditionally there wasn't.
Mm.
But I'm expecting a lot of story here because they were showing like kind of like origins of some of the characters, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I am expecting a story mode. I don't think it'll be like delving into everyone's backstory as much as I would like that. Like I think that would be tight. But I have a feeling it's mainly going to follow Liu Kang and Shang Tsung. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but those two characters,
Yeah.
I have a feeling it's mainly going to follow them.
Yeah.
And then it looked like who was it? I think Katana or Melina. I think the one that has the face with the teeth. They
I think
seem to
that's
have like
Melina.
played like a. I think so, Melina. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
she looked like she played a prominent role in that like trailer as well. You know.
Yeah.
So only speculation for now, but I'm looking forward to this, man.
Well,
Genuinely looking
it's
forward
it's
to it.
coming out this year. Not it's
Oh
September
wow,
19th.
really?
Yeah, September 19th. So like they
Jeez.
made the announcement. We're like, we are ready to go. Like, we're ready to launch this thing. September
Yeah, they're gonna
19th.
go gold soon.
You know, it's scary to think that it's already like May 19th right now. Like, so it's like, which the
They gotta show
pre-order.
us gameplay though, man.
So
That's
the
soon.
pre-orders are available today. I mean, I guess that's why they did an announcement trailer just yesterday. But it's crazy because it's a few months from now it's gonna be
I
ready
could
to
not
go.
pre-order the game without gameplay. Like I could
Yeah,
not pre-order this game without seeing proper gameplay.
yeah. But it's
Um,
gonna be for the next gen consoles, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series XS, Nintendo Switch. I don't know. I guess they gotta like tone down.
that's possible. Fighting games are like I worry about Hogwarts because it's open world.
Yeah,
Anything
yeah.
open world, it will struggle on that Nintendo Switch. But I can see you easily doing. You can do fighting games on the Switch. You just got to downscale the graphics a lot,
Yeah, but
and then
even besides
there's
that,
not much resources.
but
You
what about
know.
the blood? I mean, Nintendo's
Oh,
known
true.
to
Yeah.
be a very family friendly console, right? That's kind of their audience, and like something like that's like
I
brutal
don't
as
know,
brutal
man.
as.
There's literally like semi-porn games on the Nintendo Switch that like if those get through, then I'm sure they can. Then Mortal Kombat can get through. You know.
Yeah, yeah. All right, let's move on to another big thing that happened recently, which is Tears of the Kingdom, which came out
Oh yeah,
last week, I believe, which has
very well
sold.
received.
Yes, it has
Yeah.
sold over 10 million copies in the first 3 days. Not only has it sold 10 million copies, most pretty much from the critics and fans, very well received in terms of scores, like nines, tens. I think maybe saw like an 8 here and there, but like overall, like everyone says it's amazing. I didn't get a chance to play the first one because I don't have a Switch, but the second one seems to be similar. But then I guess there seems to be a kind of a building mechanic in it that people are
Yeah,
like
it's a huge
using a lot.
change.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like one of the biggest differences about this game. And I've seen some people build some real interesting stuff. For the most part, though, people are just like building tanks and like forms of transportation, and it's looking really, really cool. I haven't been able to buy the game
Hmm.
yet, and literally I'm busy. I'm replaying Breath of the Wild just to
Hmm.
like kind of bide my time until I can drop the money to pay for this game. Nintendo Switch games are expensive in South Africa because they don't have um,
Regional pricing.
they don't do regional pricing. So
Hmm.
like they're like out here like $10 to $15 more than other games, if that makes sense. Sometimes like up to $20 more, which is crazy.
So is it regular price? Is it like what
It's
is it
like
like?
regular price for
It's
you guys, yeah.
seventy
Like it'd be like
dollars US. That's what it
it'd be
is
about
here.
60. Okay, yeah, then it's I was gonna say it's about $70.
Well, this is the
Because yeah, they
only $70 game. Like this is the only $70 Switch
on the
game. They're all
Switches, as far as I know, yeah.
yeah,
Most of them are $60 flat, yeah.
you know.
Yeah, which out here is like yeah, like I said, it's a bit tough to justify that price with local currency.
Yeah. And then
But
also
I'm definitely gonna get it. Like I would be dumb not to get it. Like I have to get it at some point. It's gonna be the game looks amazing. I've been watching live streams. I'm so excited to play it myself.
Also, on the heels of the release of this game, and then also the success of the Super Mario Brothers game, or not game movie. Now
Oh
they're talking.
yeah, I've
Now
heard
they're
about this.
now they're talking about a Legend of Zelda animated movie, which is funny because Nintendo was so like
Anti the
they
first
were
time
so
they did.
they were
That was
so
a live
gun
action.
shy. Yeah, they're so gun shy
Yeah.
about making anything because of their previous experience that they're so and now
Which
that
wasn't like that. It wasn't even a big deal. They blew it way out of proportion, and like wasted it because they. But I am kind of glad that they did because I don't think a live action Legend of Zelda at that time would have been a good idea.
Mhm.
Like I don't think that we would have like I don't think we have like much to make it look good. You know what I mean? I don't think it would have had a very big budget. But still, like when I think it was because the actor spoke about it, which was what the leak was. Then Nintendo got really upset and pulled the
Yep.
entire project because of
Yeah.
that.
Don't
But
get it.
yeah, I don't get. Yeah, their business practices are look. They make amazing games and a great family console, but their business practices are very archaic, like very old school. But yeah, I think this would be dope because they can go a little edgier with this. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like Mario was great. I watched it. I enjoyed it. You know what I mean? For the most part, you know, I don't think it was as good as the Sonic movie. Personally, I enjoyed
No.
Sonic more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
did
think I
I.
enjoyed Son. Yeah, not the sequel, not so much. Well, in my opinion, I enjoyed the Sonic sequel as much as I enjoyed the Mario movie,
Okay.
which was I was entertained, but like I don't think it was that good.
I think I still like the Sonic 2 more than Super Mario. It's kind of not that Super Mario Brothers the movie was bad. I just felt kind of bored a lot of the time with it.
I felt like I was
It's,
watching Family Guy. You know what I mean? Just like no brain thinking, kind of just like chilled. Don't have to think to watch kind of thing.
yeah,
I will say though, I would love a Zelda movie. It's just I don't want them to go like goofy or like I don't want them to go like the Super Mario route. You know what I mean? Like I think they have, especially with Breath of the Wild and the most recent
yeah.
games, having that like big fantasy element. I kind of hope they
Mhm.
would delve into like the fantasy adventure part more than anything else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rather than going like childish and cartoonish with it.
Yeah, but I mean, like again, it is Nintendo, so they're not gonna go crazy. It's
Yeah,
not
they're gonna
gonna
make
go.
it very family
It's
friendly.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
not gonna be Game of Thrones or anything like that. So they're gonna still. I mean, it's still
You can
probably gonna
still have
be.
some whimsy. Yeah, you can still have some whimsy with it. Like think of like the tone that the How to Train Your Dragon movie set. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's
Like very
still gonna
family friendly, but
be.
still very like fantasy whimsical based. You know?
Yeah, but I think it's gonna be like even under. And I'm not talking about quality, but I'm talking about just adult oriented, but even under like
Yeah.
The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, because those are PG-13. It's kind of in
Oh,
that
for sure.
realm.
Yeah.
You have Game of Thrones, like that's very adult, PG-13, Hobbit, Lord of the
Oh
Rings.
yeah. I
And I
wouldn't
feel
see
like
them
it's
going
gonna
that
be.
much. Yeah.
I feel like
I
they're
would
gonna
see
go
them
a little.
like fitting it in like the young teenager demographic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Like I see it falling into that line. Yeah. Like I said, I just hope they don't make it too like kid friendly. They don't go
Yeah.
like too cartoonish with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But yeah,
But yeah, I think that'll be a good idea. That'll be a good movie. You can't go wrong with it, especially if it's animated. You know, I still would enjoy like an edgy live action version, but I don't think that'll
I
happen
I
because of
would love
Nintendo.
that too, but no,
Yeah,
I
but their
don't think so.
brand, I don't think they would allow it because of the Nintendo brand. You know.
Yeah, it got a 10 out of 10 on IGN, and I think Metacritic, it's like a 96 or something. It's like people are loving it. So
Massive success. Yeah.
yeah, people are talking. I mean, really, the only
Look,
limitation it has is the fact that it's only on the Switch. I mean, imagine if this game was like PC,
well, Dennis, I'm
yeah,
emulators.
yeah, yes, I know about that. But what I mean is like, look at Elden Ring and like how big of a success it was. Obviously, Legend of Zelda is even more iconic than Elden Ring, but Elden Ring was available on Xbox, PlayStation, PC. It was, pretty much everything except for Nintendo. And
Yeah.
Nintendo, is just, even though they have so many consoles sold, it's still limited to just that market.
I mean, this definitely boosted console sales as well. I can
Yeah.
tell you that for sure.
Yeah.
Especially the new OLED model, which is pretty nice.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the dumpster fire that was Redfall.
Yes. Well, this is a whole big picture right now of Xbox and what Microsoft is doing with Xbox, because right now things are not looking great. And it starts off with Redfall, which was supposed to be a AAA title, right? From Arcane, which, which made Deathloop. I personally wasn't like a huge fan of Deathloop, but there was people who really loved
I enjoyed it
and put it
Yeah.
on their either game of the year or top 10 of the year of what was it, 2 years ago? Was it 2 years ago or last year? It might have been last year. I can't even remember.
I think it was 2 years ago.
2 years ago. Anyways,
Yeah.
so
like yeah, year and a half ago roughly.
yeah, so people were expecting like, man, Redfall, that's, they were going to do this open world kind of first person shooter
Co-op.
with
Yeah.
co-op vampire, and then, all the ingredients were there, and apparently, it, it starts off with Redfall, which was supposed to be a AAA title, right? From Arcane, which, got, which made Deathloop. I personally wasn't like a huge fan of Deathloop, but there was people who really loved it and put it on their game of the year or top 10 of the year of game of the year of when people played it, they were like, "This thing is like half baked. It's basically not a finished product."
I played a bit of it, and
Okay.
in my opinion, the game itself could have been really good. And I'm so upset because I was looking forward to this game a lot
Mm-hmm.
in terms of like having a really good co-op shooter. Like there hasn't been a good one since Borderlands 3, in my opinion. You know what I mean? So I was really looking forward to it. It's on Game Pass. My friends have Game Pass. We can all play it together. I played the game for about an hour and a half. And like the gameplay, the mechanics, in my opinion, the mechanics are actually really good.
Mm-hmm.
The issue for me was the AI
That's what I
was
heard.
so trash. Like Dennis, there was a point in time where I was standing in a hole getting shot at by people, and I was just standing there, and they missed every shot. Like it was like standing in front of stormtroopers in episode 4.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally, I don't know like how that's possible. Like I'm standing like what must be like a foot of like maybe like 3 or 4 foot away from them, and they're just shooting and they're missing me entirely. It was disgusting. There was a moment I was like fighting a vampire. He just got stuck behind a wall, like on a corner, and he just like got stuck there, like walking into the. It was so, and it's like too easy.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
It's so easy. Like nobody, man, it was disappointing. Like I was just getting headshot after headshot because the zombies, they don't even like Sorry, the vampires, they don't even like turn around. They like they don't get startled or anything. Like they made the game way too easy, and the AI is so trash. But everything else, like I didn't even get to the part where you have like your abilities. I couldn't even get that far because the game was so boring.
Mm.
I had to uninstall it. It's like 100 gigs as well. It's damn, it's so disappointing. It's so disappointing. They really, if they just, it's like they didn't test the game or they didn't have proper play testers. That's the only. Because it could have been easily avoided if they just played it and they were like, wait, hold on, our
Mm-hmm.
AI is trash. The game's way too easy. Like the mechanics were okay because I mean, like I said, they did good with Deathloop and
Mm-hmm.
Dishonored and all those other stuff. They're good with that kind of stuff, you know. But yeah, they really dropped the ball with the AI. I think that's where they really fucked it. Like the game's way too easy.
Yeah, I downloaded it, and because of all the like bad reviews and bad word of mouth, I haven't opened it yet.
Yeah.
I will try it out. I probably will play it a little and then probably
You'll see what we
uninstall it.
mean. Like
Yeah,
literally within the
I've
first
seen
half an hour, you
I've
will
seen
see.
videos like of just like shooting at enemies and they don't even care, you know? Like
Yeah, they don't care at all, man. Yeah.
like it just
I don't know if
sounds
they've patched it since then, but yeah.
well, it just sounds like this is a game that was released too early. Like this should not have, you know.
I mean,
This should
graphically, it was polished. You know what I mean? But once again, they dropped the ball completely with the AI. You know? I
no.
mean, I heard people complaining about the mechanics. I don't think the mechanics is the issue. I think the AI
Mhm.
is the issue completely. You know?
Yeah. So that this leads into kind of a bigger issue right now with Microsoft and Xbox. So there's a lot of fallout and backlash for Redfall because it was, you know, the whole point of Game Pass, right? For at least for most people, is to get these big AAA games not for free, obviously, because you're paying a subscription, but because you have the subscription, there's like kind of a implied like contract between you and Game Pass and Microsoft that you're gonna get these really good AAA titles at least, you know, twice a year, right? You need at least 2 AAA titles a year for Game Pass to really be worth it.
Yeah.
Because you get the indie stuff on top of that, and you get these other games that are like maybe AA titles or whatever. So, but you know, for the cost of it, getting 2 AAA titles to 3, like that one year that for me, Halo Infinite and Forza Horizon.
That was a good year.
Yeah, that was they only had 2 that year, but those are 2 I really like. I was not as hard on Halo Infinite like as other people. I thought it was pretty good. I mean, it wasn't like amazing.
Yeah.
It wasn't the best Halo, but it was like still pretty good.
I think the multiplayer sucks in my
Mm,
opinion.
mm,
Like it's fun, but like there's not much to it really, you know what I
mm,
mean? Well, now with Forge, I don't know. I got to go back and try it out. But at the time, the multiplayer was very whatever for me, and I really enjoyed the campaign. I didn't have any issues or any bugs or anything, you know.
mhm.
Co-op came out, that was good. But Forza was the real winner on Game Pass because that was I think IGN's Game of the Year.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
It's
So that was a big
interesting.
win in general. Yeah.
Yes, that was a game that was perfect for me for Game Pass because it's a game I personally would not have bought myself.
Yeah.
But because I could get it through Game Pass, I ended up really liking it. It was one of my top games of that year. And I never would have played it without Game Pass. So that's like a perfect example of what Game Pass is for. The problem is that when you release a AAA title like Redfall that's exclusive, right? This is your exclusive, right? This is the game that's like supposed to, you know, unfairly, you're going up. What people are going to look at is this game compared to God of War Ragnarok. It's, you know, this game versus Horizon Forbidden West. This game versus
also just think about the money they lost on this, man.
Yeah.
The time and money that they lost on this, because this wasn't like a small deal for them. You know what I mean? They were marketing the crap out of this. A lot of time and money went into it. Clearly not enough time, but
No,
you know, a lot of money went into it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that they are hurting from this, as well as a couple other countries, I think, blocking the acquisition that they're trying to make, which I still just don't see that as being fair. I think that they deserve the acquisition. I don't see it being a monopoly whatsoever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, third place, and you're a monopoly. I never would get that. They're currently in third place in the console wars.
Exactly, yeah. And like for a monopoly is having everything and like having no entry barrier besides yours. You know what I mean? Like you could argue Apple has like a slight monopoly because in order to use Apple products, you have to be within their like ecosystem. You know what I mean? But with the Activision Blizzard with the Blizzard acquisition from Microsoft, anybody can access their games if you have like, except if you're on PlayStation basically. But if you have a PC or if you have an Xbox, you can play their games. They're not like locking you into it like, hey, you have to be on the Xbox. You can be on a PC, and they don't own like anybody can have a PC. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's I don't know. There's just like. It's so dumb. I don't get it. I don't get it.
So it's weird what's going on because I don't particularly understand this part of it. So basically, the big blow to Microsoft was that the CMA, which is the UK's Competition and Markets Authority, basically blocked the deal. And strangely enough, it was not about console market. It was about cloud gaming. They were like, oh, Microsoft's too dominant in cloud gaming, which is such a small thing right now, you know? But apparently that was like the big thing. But on the flip side, recently, the European Commission approved the Activision Blizzard deal.
Okay.
But that the problem is, this is what I don't get is, I don't get how mergers are blocked by one country. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
that's what I don't understand. Is like, okay, if you're doing an acquisition, why does one country have like such hold or sway over blocking the entire, like, because you're buying this, you know, we're talking about the whole world, right? Microsoft is acquiring Activision so they can sell games and consoles to the entire world. So how does a country, you know, have that?
They don't hold much. Yeah, how do they hold that much power? And do they even hold that much power in the first place? Because I see what you're meaning. It's like, what leverage do they have? Because if their issue, it's their issue is like, we're one country. We don't want the deal to go through. If the deal doesn't go through, we're cool with it. But if the deal doesn't go through, we're cool with it. But if the deal does go through, what are they going to do? Are they just going to say, well, no more distribution in our country? If so, I don't think that like Activision, like it can't that big of a hit. You know what I mean? Like to the company, if they can still distribute to all the other countries. Like, how can one country stop the acquisition? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If like a bunch of other countries approve it as well, does that mean that that country just loses out on distribution? Like, does that mean you don't have Game Pass or you don't have access to Microsoft games? Like, I'm guessing you'd have to like remove them off of the Steam store, off of the Epic store, any like IP that they own. It would be a weird process. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like, I'm not too sure like the power that they would hold over that. It's an international acquisition.
Yeah. So the European Commission, they basically said that they didn't think the acquisition would really harm the marketplace because
I think it'd be good for the marketplace.
Well, and also rightfully so, the PlayStation has, you know, a lot of exclusive content that easily gets people to buy their platform, you know? So even they're
not going to suffer. I still want to get a PS5, you know what I mean? I use Game Pass every day and I still want to get a PS5.
And I
Like
and I
it's yeah.
and I don't even play Call of Duty. You know what I mean? Like it just I don't know. Anyway, so Microsoft is kind of, a lot of bad news lately with the Redfall disaster. This Activision Blizzard deal, like, being kind of in limbo now because now they're appealing to the UK's CMA ruling. So who knows how long that's gonna last? Like, who knows? By the time they get Call of Duty, maybe Call of Duty is like totally bankrupt or whatever. I don't know. Like, who knows? But anyways, Phil Spencer, who is the head of Xbox,
the boss guy.
Yeah, he was on a podcast and he basically said all the responsibility was on him, and that they didn't do enough to help Arcane Austin. Because usually I guess they kind of let their studios that they purchase kind of do their own thing without too much
and they
interference.
say they didn't meet they said they didn't meet a lot of internal goals and stuff like that. But what's weird is, like, from that podcast, I could tell he was more worried about pushing out, like, he was more worried about the FPS than the actual problem, which is, the AI.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know about that.
So yeah. Anyways, not a great.
On the flip side, though, them not having spent a lot of time looking after Redfall, supposedly they spent a lot of time looking after Starfield. So I guess that is a positive now, for us at least, not for them, because
hopefully
Redfall bombed, and they lost a lot of money on Redfall for sure. But yeah, they say they did a better job assisting Starfield development, which, by the way, if I recall, was supposed to come out like end of last year originally. Remember that?
Yeah. So I wonder. So there's a lot of pressure on Starfield now. It's pretty much the make or break game for Xbox, because right now, like, the last big title was Halo Infinite, right? That's the last big AAA title that did well enough.
They had that big indie, which did well as well. Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah.
But it wasn't AAA.
Yeah. So, it's been over a year and a half now since then, and there hasn't been something to, like, really get people, especially for Game Pass, like, people, like, super excited. So Starfield's that thing. And the whole thing is they've already delayed Starfield by a year. They can't delay it again.
No, they can't. I will say, before we move on completely from Redfall, I do truly, at the bottom of my heart, hope that it's like a redemption story, like with Cyberpunk. Like, I had a good time playing Cyberpunk initially, but on my most recent playthrough, it's so much better. It really, you can't argue against it. The game is vastly different and so much better now. And I hope that happens with Redfall too, because it could be a really, really fun game. They just need to fix that AI, and they need to fix a lot of it, like the stealth issues, they gotta fix it up. But I think that they can, because for the most part, like I said, graphically the game looks good. Like the core mechanics, the shooting is pretty fine. You know what I mean? They just gotta fix that AI.
The question is, I'm pretty sure they can make it good. The question is whether they want to. Will they? Will they spend the resources to fix a game that already in most people's minds is, like DOA?
Dead, yeah.
So that's the big question.
It's like, probably not worth it for them because of all the IP they own. Yeah. Whereas, like, if you look at CD Projekt Red, like, that was, like, they only have 2 big IPs. They kind of had to fix that. Same with No Man's Sky. Great redemption story, but they only had that one game, so they had to fix it. Yeah. That was an all or nothing situation,
Yeah, and also the way I feel about Cyberpunk is, like, a lot of that was technical issues, obviously, that they had to fix, but the game itself was still good from day one.
The story was phenomenal, in my opinion.
A lot of
That'll
fixes
stick with me for years.
So a lot of things they did fix, but there were a lot more technical issues and small things. I think at the core of it, it was already a good game, right? It was, like, already a good story. The game mechanics, like, it's not the best playing game I've ever played, but it was good enough, And there was a big world, so I don't know. Redfall has a lot more to climb back from than Cyberpunk.
True.
So who knows if they're going to actually do it, but Starfield just seems like to be the one. I wonder, too, if maybe they knew Redfall was shit, but they couldn't delay it because they didn't have a game to
They needed
release.
something.
Because Starfield
Yeah.
was already delayed, and that was coming out this fall. So it's like they can't push, Redfall back because it's like, what else do they have, So it was
It
kind of.
sucks that this has happened again, kind of, because because of Game Pass, like I recently replayed, not recently, but like a year ago, I replayed what was that other like big mecha game where you got inside the mechs? It was very disappointing. It was supposed to be this big like well, not MMO, but this big like kind of MMO co-op experience. It wasn't similar to Destiny, but what was it again? Oh man, it's it's killing me right now. It had a horrible like launch, and that kind of killed the game on start.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. I forgot the name. It was a really generic name, if I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
I
It
don't
was
know
like
why
a
I'm
very,
thinking.
it was like one of
Yeah,
like, wasn't it like the Halo creator made that game or something like that?
think so.
It was I forgot the name of it, but it was a very like generic name. And yeah, it cost a
Yeah.
lot of money, and it kind of, kind of landed with a thud.
And yeah, anyways, if anybody does know what game I'm talking about, I that game was actually really really fun, but and they fixed it eventually, but because they didn't fix it in time, the
Mm-hmm.
game died. Like the game
Mm-hmm.
completely died.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling that's what's gonna happen to Redfall. Either they're gonna like not fix it at all and just call it quits, or they are gonna fix it, but it's gonna
Mm-hmm.
be too late. Like yeah, too little, too late.
Yeah.
Let's see. We got the rating for Starfield, the ESRB rating.
Yes.
M for
Um.
mature, 17 and up.
Yeah, which
Blood,
revealed.
strong language, suggestive themes, use of drugs and violence, which
Yeah.
makes for a fun game in my opinion.
Well, the thing that people really wanted to take notice of was that it had sex in it and
Oh yeah.
drugs, and they gave examples like after sharing a bed with characters, they'd be like, "Life is a sexually transmitted disease that's 100% fatal. I'm
Oh
all
my
for getting
god.
a little wild, but for next time, let's try it without the jetpacks. Talk about seeing stars spew. That was amazing." So like, so obviously there's some sort of Mass Effect like, I'm sure it's not like they're showing you stuff, but the
Yeah.
insinuation is
But
that
the talking about it,
yeah,
the setup, yeah.
yeah. So yeah, it's
September 6th. It's not that far
yeah,
away technically.
yeah. I mean, this is, like I said, make or break for Xbox. 'Cause I feel like no one's really gonna trust them if this game isn't good. I mean, I think the
Yeah.
one problem is that it has to actually be more than good, to be honest. It has to be like
Yeah.
fantastic. The thing is, I'm not worried about being good. Bethesda has basically done these type of games before, right? Fallout,
And they learned
Skyrim,
their lesson from
Fallout,
76 for
yeah, yeah.
sure.
And
They
it's
learned
not a
their lesson
Fallout,
for sure.
and that was because they tried to change into it, Fallout into
They
something
took a
that it
risk.
wasn't.
They took something. Yeah, they took a risk on something new, and I respect them for that. Even if it didn't, like, they fixed the game like 2 years later. 2 years later, the game was like basically a brand new game.
Yeah,
But they took a risk, and it didn't work for them in the beginning, and I respect the shit out of that for them. Because most people wouldn't. Like, hell, even movie studios, they don't take risks on something new. They'd rather like remake something and go off nostalgia. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So I respect Bethesda for that.
yeah. So
But yeah,
I'm
Starfield
looking.
better be amazing. Or like,
Yeah,
yeah,
I have more confidence in it because it isn't that big a deviation though from what they have been doing already with Fallout and Skyrim, right? It's we saw with why am I blanking on the name? Outer Worlds, like, which was,
yeah,
um basically Fallout in space, is from the guys who made Fallout New Vegas, Obsidian.
yeah, and very like tongue in cheek, cheeky. I enjoyed that game because you could kind of like do your own You could kind of do your own thing more. You could technically talk your way out of any situation, threaten your way out of it. You don't have like I used very little combat in that game.
Mm.
I just used like stealth and charisma and threatening and things like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Starfield. Todd Howard is probably feeling the pressure. Probably Phil Spencer probably breathing down his neck. You know, like every day, just hitting him up and saying, "Hey, is it good?
Anthem.
Better be
Sorry,
good."
I had to look it up. That was the game.
Okay.
Anthem.
I was thinking of something else. I was thinking of that
No.
one Halo creator game.
Anthem could have been something so good. Like the mechanics of that game is so fun.
I played the demo. It was fun.
Too late.
Yeah.
Yeah, they I think it was like the loot situation was the issue. Like
it became really repetitive too. It became very repetitive.
And there were glitches. There was a lot of glitches as well that they didn't fix. But I played, like I said, I played that game like a year or two after it launched, and I had a great time kind of playing the story mode. Would have been cool with friends though, multiplayer.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's move on. So the Dragon Age news.
Yeah, Dragon Age Dreadwolf, which is Dragon Age 4, looks like it probably won't be released until at least April is the earliest, 2024. Yeah. I know when people were like, "Oh, it's going to come out this year," I was like,
we haven't seen anything.
That's the thing is when people don't show gameplay footage, like to me, it's like, are you sure it's coming out this year? You know, like.
And it's okay to delay if you haven't showed any footage. I think, you know what I mean, because you haven't there's zero hype. There was hype like when they announced it, but now there's literally zero hype. So delaying your game when there's zero hype is okay, because no one's gonna complain. Like for instance, I know for the most part, this little bit of news flew over so many people's heads. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people don't even know about this delay because there hasn't been any talk about the new Dragon Age game. Which, by the way, I'm a huge diehard fan of Dragon Age 1 and 3.
Yeah,
we don't talk about 2. We don't talk. I
tried to play 2, and then it wasn't for me.
It's bad, dude.
It's just not, it didn't feel like Dragon Age. It felt like a different game.
It was linear. It was super linear. Like the paths you couldn't walk where you wanted to and stuff.
Yeah.
It was really bad.
I love 3's like world map, traveling the world. It's fantastic. But yeah, this is BioWare, much like. You know, Bethesda with Starfield is kind of also on the hot seat because their last 2 games, Anthem, which you mentioned, and then Mass Effect Andromeda, just weren't very well received and were not, you know.
Andromeda was ass, man. Yeah.
So, like, they really people are like, maybe not make or break for EA or anything like that, but really for this franchise or BioWare in general, it's like. Have they lost?
BioWare needs to do something, man. Like they're probably hemorrhaging money at this point, I'd imagine.
I mean,
suffering for sure.
Yeah, I mean, they've made some of my favorite games of all time. You know, Knights of the Old Republic, the Mass Effect trilogy. You know,
I don't know if they made money for the trilogy remaster. I'm sure they made some money off of that.
I played some of it. I didn't get that far, but it seemed pretty cool in terms of like the upgrades. Like graphically, looked. You know, obviously it's not gonna be like. You know, competing with today's games because it still has to be, you know, based on some of the older models and stuff. But it was a nice visual uplift, you know, nice facelift for it. So,
well, let's talk about the Lord of the Rings news.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings MMO, which is coming from Amazon Games.
Yeah,
which is it's an interesting mix because it's I guess Amazon's partnering with Embracer Group, which I think has the license for Lord of the Rings. Which, you know, if you don't remember,
it's because if I recall, like the 2007 MMO RPG, they had to shut it down. I think it could be 20. What's this? Yeah, Amazon canceled it in 2021. I thought it was 20. Yeah, okay, that makes more sense. Rather, yeah. So I might wait. Hold on. No, I could be wrong. I just know that the original MMO got shut down because of Tencent, and it was licensing issues. So it took a couple of years for Amazon or whoever they partnered with to get their license back. And yeah, man. Well, I think the biggest news is that they're saying that they learned from the New World experience, and let's hope that that's true. Because New World, I really enjoyed
Mm-hmm.
the first half of it. They really made sure that the first half of that game is amazing. But then towards the end, it sucked, and then the end game was ass. Like for an MMO, that's the whole point. Like that's how people are going to play that game forever because of the end game content, because of the raids and stuff like that. And if the most fun you have is in the beginning of that game, you're not going to play after that. You know what I mean? So hopefully they learn from that with the Lord of the Rings game.
Yeah, and Embracer Group, if you don't remember, is the group that bought basically Square Enix's.
Oh, they bought all that IP for nothing.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, good for them.
So yeah, so you know, I'm looking for. You know, they just announced it. This is gonna be like.
Oh, I wonder what
a long ways off. It's gonna be a long ways off.
Yeah.
This game.
Oh
like,
yeah.
We're not seeing
Years.
this game for a long time.
5 or 6 years, or yeah. Probably.
Yeah, this is like 5-6 years from now.
All right. This is the next part of news I'm excited for. You know what I mean?
Well,
I mean, if I could afford it, you know, if I could, this thing looks epic, dude. Yeah.
So is this ROG or is it ROG? I guess it's ROG because it's capitals, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's ROG.
Asus
yeah.
ROG
Realm of
Ally.
Gamers.
Okay. Basically, this is the true, because there's a lot of Steam Deck competitors. There was Steam Deck like devices before
Nvidia
the Steam
had a good one. Yeah.
Steam Deck even came out, and there's been some after, but none of them have really captured that performance and quality versus price. You know, some were like really good that were like super expensive, like over a G. You know, that people just wouldn't buy, and then some people would put out cheap ones, but they sucked, or they put like some similarly priced to Steam Deck, and they weren't that great. So this is the first one that's like a competitive price with actually some better specs than the Steam Deck.
Yeah.
It has a more
though they don't have trackpads though, as far as I know.
No, they
which
don't.
is good on the Steam Deck for like using just having a mouse or cursor in general. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But the processor is, you know, pretty good.
It's high, it's very high end.
Oh,
very
the display is a 1920 by 1080, not 1280 by 800. So it's got a better display,
more higher resolution. Yeah.
So it's definitely got, so it is a little more expensive than the Steam Deck, but if you compare the high-end Steam Deck to this one, it's not that bad. Also, I think they're going to come out with a cheaper model as well, a 256 gigabit model for $599, and then the high-end one is $699. So it's compared to Steam Deck, which is at
I'm
$649.
sure you can also plug it in. I'm sure you can also use it as like a mini computer.
Yeah. So
the same way you could use the Steam Deck as like a mini computer,
So
by plugging in monitors and keyboards and stuff.
The OS is, because Steam Deck has their own like optimized UI just for Steam and Steam games, but this one kind of has not such. The UI is not quite as catered towards the mobile kind of handset or the console, but the good news is you can play Steam games and you can play Game Pass games, because it's basically just a mini PC, so you can load up.
I don't know if you can do the same thing that you can do with the Steam Deck, which is you can essentially you can use it as like, can't you like, I think you can install your own OS on there, or you can still like, you don't have to use the Steam OS itself, or you can use like a desktop mode, because I know on the Steam Deck you can technically, and we don't condone this on the channel, but you could technically run an emulator and play Switch games on your Steam Deck, because you could run it through the desktop, and I'm wondering if with this the realm of the ROG Ally or the ROG Ally, I'm wondering if you can do the same, because it's definitely the superior handheld console. You know what I mean, for sure. Especially with the 1080, like the HD screen, that makes a huge difference for sure. Supposedly, like I think I saw Linus review it or somebody, and the fans do kind of blast like not super loud, but like I'd imagine you're gonna be using headphones with this thing anyways.
Yeah.
At least most of the time,
but yeah, like I said, like Steam Deck is great. This looks great. If I was more on the go person in terms of like traveling a lot. Like if I was flying a lot, or I was taking the train a lot, this definitely would be something I'd be interested in.
Oh
But
yeah.
the thing is, the most I travel is like from my office to my living room. It's like not and anytime I do go out, it's not. There's no like downtime. I'm like going out to eat, or what I mean, I'm meeting friends, drinking
Yeah.
beer. Like there's no
It'd be
time for
super
me to
super
play games. When I'm out.
True. It'd be super. It would be super beneficial for me though. As
Hmm.
somebody who doesn't have electricity half the time,
Yes.
like
Yes.
literally. Well, nowadays more than half the day we don't have electricity, so I would for sure. I've been enjoying the Nintendo Switch for that. Cannot wait to get Tears of the Kingdom. That's gonna
Hmm.
make load shedding, which is what we call our power cuts over here. It's gonna make that a lot more entertaining.
Are you able to? Aren't you? Can you play like Netflix off of that thing too, as well?
No, Netflix was removed
Oh, that
a
sucks.
while ago. But I mean, I can just use my phone for
That's
Netflix. It's just
true.
obviously
That's true.
smaller screen, but it's like in front of your face. You don't mind. Um, but I got a new TV. It doesn't take up a lot of electricity, so I'm gonna buy one of those. It's similar to what you bought, I think, for
Hmm.
that camping trip of yours a long
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
ago, and it was
Yeah.
just like way bigger than what you thought. I'm gonna use
Yeah.
one of those. It's like enough to power the TV and my internet, so I'm gonna get myself one of those for now.
Yeah. Mine was, I think, could do a TV. I can't do a computer though. Computer's too high
Oh
wattage
yeah, no, definitely.
for the one I bought, because I think mine's like 500 watts. I think.
Yeah, same. Mine's 500 to 600 for sure.
Yeah. So.
All right.
All
Well, let's
right.
the Telltale news
Yeah.
here. Yeah.
Yeah, I put this on there just because I'm a big fan of The Expanse, the TV show, and Telltale Games is making a series for it, or you know how it is.
Yeah.
It's not like a full-on game. It's more like a
Interactive, choose your own
narrative game, right? And so
heavy choice based game. Yeah.
yeah, so if people have watched the show, that Kamina Drummer, so Kara G, who played her in the show, is going to do the voice, and I've seen a lot. So they finally announced the date. Basically, it's going to come out on July 27th, and I'm really looking
That's
forward to
soon.
it. Yeah, it's not that far away. It's coming to the Epic Game Store, for PC.
I'm glad you put this on here because it reminded me that I still need to watch the TV series, and a lot of people have told me to watch the
Yes.
show. So
If
I
you like
really needed to like
sci-fi,
delve into
you'll
that. Yeah.
you'll like the show because it's a very sci-fi
I just
oriented
recently
show.
binged Sandman recently,
Hmm.
and I actually even though I didn't find I found the main character a little annoying, well the actor itself he kind of grows on you. It was a great series, and I found out that like I think their budget was like 1.1 or 1.2 million dollars per episode,
Jeez.
which is why the CGI in Sandman blew out like most of the movies I've watched this past year. It made the CGI look for those movies. It made it look like
Hmm.
child's play like, in comparison. The CGI in Sandman was so good. And it's like probably gonna take 2 years to get a second season, but yeah.
All right.
Anyways, The Expanse, I gotta check that out. A lot of people have told me to.
Yeah. Oh, just a side note to our previous topic. I'm looking at IGN right now, and there's a big ad for the ROG, which, yes, it stands for Republic of
Oh,
Gamers.
nice.
And the ad is basically pushing Game Pass on there. Basically, it includes 3 months of
Oh, that's
Xbox
tight.
Game Pass for free. So they're really like, this is the Game Pass. Like, the Steam Deck is for like your Steam games, but this is like the Game Pass machine, which makes
Also,
sense.
the HD screen, like proper full HD, 1080p, that's pretty tight, man.
Yeah, yeah. So, all right, that's all I have. I know you have some stuff.
I got a couple. Well, big news in my opinion. Big backlash as well was the Overwatch 2 director.
Mhm.
They canceled the PvE hero mode, and a lot of people were complaining because that was like kind of half the reason they were excited for Overwatch 2
Mhm.
was because they were adding this whole hero mode, which is you have a skill tree, you have character progression. They were really looking forward to that. So when they canceled that, people were really upset because it's like kind of what's the point? But I think some people took it and blew it out of proportion because,
Mhm.
or like for me, for instance, I thought they were canceling PVE completely, but PVE is still coming, which like I'm looking forward to because I'm not a big fan of the competitive gaming side of Overwatch personally.
Mhm.
I'm not really good at it, so I would love to play the co-op PVE, which is still coming, and they are adding story missions and story modes, or they're adding story missions, which I'm looking forward to too, because that's also something I thought that they were going to cancel when they canceled hero mode. But there is going to be story missions diving into the lore of the characters and stuff, which I'm looking forward to. But the director had to apologize. He knows they're really upset about this. But the fan base is not taking it. They're not happy with this decision at all. Like, the backlash is pretty big. And it's just like another hit that Blizzard took. So Diablo 4 is looking good. I hope that they don't fuck it up last minute. But like, that's like, Diablo 4 has to be perfect when that thing comes out. And I know that during the beta, a lot of the people were having issues about balance, the game, like a character, like class balance between classes. So they have to do that good, because they've been taking like everything they've touched so far has like been so bad, man. Diablo Immortal being pay to win.
No.
Warcraft 3 Reforged being like, they just outsourced it to like India or something, and it was a train smash. So I don't know. Blizzard needs a win, man. They really need a win. But yeah, so that was big news. More Hogwarts news. I don't know if we mentioned this, but Hogwarts is coming to the Nintendo Switch.
Mm-hmm.
I do not see it running well. Like, I don't see how they could possibly make that work on the Nintendo Switch. Also, some people data mined the game and found that there was originally a morality system that would
penalize you
penalize you for using unforgivable curses. Which, when I was playing the game, I was wondering why you could just you could go like they, in the movies, they make it such a big deal. Like, they're horrible spells, you can't use them, and like in the game you use them all the time. You can use them you can use them in the school even, you know what I mean? There's no real backlash. I saw a mod once. There was a mod where if you use your spells inside the castle, you get teleported to Azkaban.
Oh, really?
And you have it you're stuck you're just stuck in the cell. That's it. Like, game over, man. Start a new character. But so that was tight. Unfortunately, that they didn't have that in the game. Let's see, covered the Overwatch 2 stuff, Lord of the Rings. Oh yeah, Fortnite is adding ranks in general, which I guess at some point in time kind of makes sense, but I just don't know how. So it's still a battle royale. It's going to be for no build mode and the build mode. It's still a battle royale, and there's going to be a progression bar, and they're going to kind of rank you off of that. I don't know how they rank you on like I guess maybe like depending on how far, if you're like top 20 or top 10, maybe that's how they do the XP. I'm not too sure. Square Enix is considering buying a bunch of new studios, which is interesting because they, like we spoke about the other studio just now, they sold a bunch of like their studios, their Western studios, for like nothing.
Yeah.
Like their IP for nothing. And now they're looking at possibly buying new ones. I think it's because of the success of Final Fantasy VII, the Crisis Core remake. But then it's like Forspoken came out, and that was like pretty bad.
Yeah, they lost money on that one.
Octopath Traveler 2 did pretty well as well. I think that they know that Final Fantasy 16 is gonna pop off really hard.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that it's counting your eggs before they hatch kind of thing. Sorry, counting your chickens before they hatch. You know, maybe wait until the incredible success of Final Fantasy 16. I'm saying that because I'm gonna will it into this world. That game, it's gonna be perfect, and I'm saying that because I want it to be that way. Okay, I'm manifesting it right now. Let's see here. What else do we have? Oh yeah, there was the Starship Troopers Extermination, the game that came out, and it's looking pretty good. It looks like Left 4 Dead, but in the Starship Troopers universe. So that looks like a lot of fun. I'm gonna see if I can get my friends to play that with me. That looks like a good co-op time. And that's the last bit of news I have. That's all I got.
All right, cool. I guess before we wrap up, what have you been playing?
I just bought Need for Speed Unbound because it's on sale on the Steam store for like, I think it was like 70 or 75% off. So I picked that up, playing a bit of that. Been playing a lot of Valorant. That's actually about it because, like I said, I haven't been getting a lot of electricity here. So for the most part, just work, and then Valorant when I have the time for it. Oh, I will say I found this incredible indie game that I'm loving at the moment. It's like the way I'm going to describe it is not going to sell the game very well, but essentially it's like Clash Royale, but with mechs and like robots and stuff, and it's on Steam. I think it's like a $10 game or even cheaper than that. maybe $5. I'm having a great time with it. Like, it's a multiplayer game where a lot of strategy is involved, but then the combat itself is like an auto battle. It does its own thing, but the strategy is where you place your troops and what troops to like fight other troops. And it's difficult to explain. Fun game though. Mecha Bellum is what it's called. So if anybody's looking for a good little indie game that's like $10 or less, I think $5. Definitely pick that up.
Cool. Yeah, I've been playing too much. Like I'm still like Jedi Survivor. I've played some, but I'm only still kind of in the first parts of it. It is definitely. It's what's weird is like.
Man, I'm so far behind in games now that I think about it. Like, by the time I get to Tears of the Kingdom, because I still want to play the new Jedi Survivor game as well. I will say, I've watched a lot of videos about that game, and I recently replayed, just finished Jedi Survivor. I mean, just Jedi Knight Fallen Order.
Fallen Order.
That was it, yeah. Fallen Order. I just finished that game again, and I will say the atmosphere, it looks like the atmosphere is a lot better in the first game. From what I could tell in the new game, it's like very desert biome. The game looks like a lot of fun mechanic-wise, but like, I don't know. I think they nailed the atmosphere more in the first game than the second game.
Yeah, I haven't gotten far enough to tell. I've kind of gotten to the first kind of big world. I mean, I'm having fun playing it. It's just like the first one.
Yeah, it looks way more fun though.
I keep I don't know why, but every time I update the game, it takes forever. Like forever for it to like.
Maybe they have to like reinstall like half the game. Some games are like that. Fortnite used to be like that, where it's like it had the update, but then it had to like reinstall everything.
I'm talking about like hours. I'm not talking like, ooh.
That's weird.
It downloads the game fairly quickly, or the update, sorry. Like, it's a few gigs, right? Like 4 or 5 gig
installation
update.
that takes forever, maybe.
And then when it installs it, it's like it locks up my computer for hours. So
that's
I don't know.
Weird, dude. That's really weird.
So and there's another one I probably should have done last night because there was a new update as well. I should have updated overnight because now like I don't feel like I should play it right now because of that. But I played that. I mentioned this game last year, which was the Case of the Golden Idol. They had a DLC, and I played that, and that was like, it was $5. So yeah, it was that's kind of all I've been playing. So that's hopefully I'll play some more.
All right.
Before the next time we meet up and chat. So all right, guys. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to this YouTube channel, youtube.com/Revog Games. Follow us on Spotify or Anchor.fm for the weekly podcast. You can follow me on Twitter @ThinkHero or on Instagram @TZNG. Josh, where can people find you?
You guys can find me on Twitch at It's Thespis, all lowercase. There should be a link in the description below. Once I get to 100 followers, I will stream regularly. You guys can also find me in the Revog Discord channel. I'm more than happy to talk about video games or movies or anything like that. And then, yeah, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and also hit that bell notification so you get the notifications to your phone. Make sure that's quite important. Yeah, hit that bell.
All right, until next time, we'll see you guys later.
Later.